County's Planning Commission and Board of Adjustment meeting. It's 3 o'clock on August 20th, 2026. Would you please rise for the pledge? If you haven't already done so, if you'd please silence your cell phones, and if you are online, please make sure that you are muted your microphone until you are ready to speak. Please note that this public hearing is being recorded. The first item on the agenda is roll call. Rock Ulinami.
Here.
John Auger.
Here.
Sue Maskey.
Here.
Andy Larson.
Here.
And I am Rebecca Best. The next item is to approve the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Madam Chair, no recommended changes.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The agenda is approved. The next is to approve the minutes and findings of fact of the meeting held on July 16th, 2026.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes and findings of fact.
there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The minutes are approved. Today we have no items of old business and we have 7 items of new business. We greatly appreciate your patience. Our procedure is when we call your application, you will be admitted to the meeting if you are online, or if you are in person, please come to the table in the front, have a seat, and state your name and address for the record. Then we will have Nicolette read your request into the record. We then will give the applicant an opportunity to add any new information that has not been previously submitted. After that, we will open the request up for public testimony. Today, we will have 2 public testimony opportunities. One is in person and one is online. If you are online and wish to speak to an application, please use your hand icon to indicate to us that you wish to speak. Then once you are admitted, please unmute your microphone and state your name and address for the record. If you're speaking in person, please come to the microphone at the podium in the center aisle. In either case, you will then be given 5 minutes to give your testimony, and we do time the testimonies to 5 minutes. Please do not repeat what someone else has said, and please do not read your emails or letters that have already been sent. Everyone who wishes to give testimony will have an opportunity to do so. Once we close public testimony, we will not reopen it. We will then bring it back to the applicant to address the items brought forth from the public. Our rules of conduct are please be respectful. For the applicant, this means to sit quietly during the public testimony period, and for the audience, it means to do the same for the applicant as they respond to your testimony. All questions and statements are to be directed to this board or members of staff, not to the applicant. Anyone that I feel is being disrespectful or not following these rules will be asked to leave or will be disconnected from the meeting. Our decision process for a preliminary plat or land use map amendment request, we make a recommendation to the county board. For a variance, conditional, or interim use permit request, we make the final decision. We make our decisions based on our findings of fact. To help us do that, we do several things. We do on-site visits where we physically go to the property and examine the site and look at what is being planned. Prior to attending this meeting, we each read every letter and email that is submitted, and we then hear public testimony and we listen to the applicant. I would like to pause for a moment to let you know that we do greatly appreciate your correspondence and input from the public. We have all read the submitted comments. In addition to that, we have a worksheet that we use to help summarize the findings of fact. Preliminary findings have been included in the staff packet. Next, I will ask each board member if they have reviewed the preliminary findings of fact that were provided in the packet. Sue?
Me?
Yes, have
I
you?
didn't. Yes, I have.
Rock,
I have.
Andy,
I have.
John,
I have.
and I have as well. With that, our first applicant this evening is Richard Zach for a land use map amendment. Yes, please. And if you'd state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Richard Zach, 18254 County Road 132, Brainerd, Minnesota.
Thank you. And Nicolette, can you read the request into the record, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. Tonight we have applicant and property owner Richard Zach, parcel number 763-30514. This is in Maple Grove Township. The request is a land use map amendment to change the zoning from agricultural forestry to rural residential 10. This property is located in Section 33 of Maple Grove Township. Access to the parcel is gained by traveling through several properties owned by Mr. Zach to County Road 132. The applicant is requesting a land use map amendment for this 40-acre parcel only. The property is zoned agricultural forestry district and is primarily surrounded by the same zoning we'll go down. And it is primarily surrounded by ag with some tax forfeit over here in the northwest. The applicant intends to divide the parcel into 4 10-acre chunks. Over the years, the applicant has constructed a road through his adjoining properties to support future development of the subject parcel. According to the application, the road has been completed and power and fiber optic utilities have been installed. The Crow Wing County Comprehensive Plan was adopted on August 27th of 2024. In Section 3 of the Comp Plan is the land use chapter, which outlines existing land use conditions, identifies environmentally constrained areas, and establishes a future land use plan to support orderly growth while protecting natural resources. The plan balances housing needs, economic development, agricultural preservation, and environmental protection through updated land use designations and goals focused on sustainable growth and resource stewardship. One relevant goal in the land use chapter on page 50 is to maintain farming on higher quality ag lands while allowing development on marginal agricultural lands that harmonizes with local character and existing uses. The supporting policy for this goal is to foster the use of quality ag land for agricultural purposes where it is most suitable based on the natural conditions and location. Another applicable goal found on page 49 is plan a balanced approach to meeting housing needs by increasing densities. A corresponding policy states to plan for smaller rural residential lots in areas served by existing roads, but unlikely to be served by public sewer and water, in order to support more affordable development. A comment was received from the township on July 9th, recommending approval of the request. No additional comments were received from other agencies. 2 comments were received from the public in support of the request, and no conditions are recommended by staff for this application. This afternoon, the board will need to consider how the request before you aligns with both the land use ordinance and the Crow Wing County Comprehensive Plan. I can answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Nicolette. Does the board have any questions for Nicolette at this time? Okay. Do you have anything, sir, that you'd like to add?
I don't know, I just hope that I can get this done. I've put a lot of effort and money into it over the years, and I really think it would be a great benefit to the community. So that's about all I have.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, please say.
Okay. And at this point, we'll open up the request for public testimony. Is there anyone in the courtroom who would like to address this application? Anyone? Please come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Ben Bernatsky. I own the property just to the north of Mr. Zach, and I would like to express support for what he's trying to do. I find it a little bit disconcerting paying property taxes and then you want to give 10 acres to a kid or a grandkid and you have to have a hearing about it, but it is what it is, I guess. I've known Richard Zach for 40 years. He's been a good and helpful neighbor, and I've never known him to do anything that was harmful to the environment. And there's, aside from timber harvesting, there's no agricultural value to any of the land that in question or surrounding it. It's all wooded. You're not going to plant corn on it or graze cattle on it, so I guess I don't know what else to say. If you have any questions for me, I'll do the best I can to answer them.
Thank you. Hearing none, thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else in the courtroom who would like to speak to this application? Anyone else? Anyone? Seeing no one, I will go online. Is there anyone online? I don't believe so. Okay, so we'll bring it back then to the board for further discussion. And I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to add before the board discusses your application.
I do believe you do know that there's plenty of place for sewer, and the water is great out there. There is not any hog operations putting nitrates or imidacloprids and neonicotinoids being used in the area to poison people. It's a great environment for people to farm a little garden and things. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. So we'll bring it back to the board for further discussion and potential action on this application.
Madam Chair,
Yes, John?
may I inquire of staff? In the one of the proposed findings of fact, it recognizes that the comprehensive plan dramatically reduced rural residential 10 in 2024 when it was adopted from 58,000, almost 59,000 acres to only 10,000, signaling a policy shift away from expanding rural residential 10. And I'm wondering if you can educate us a little bit more on that shift.
I think the point that is just being made is that when we went through that comprehensive plan update back in 2024, there was a dramatic, the county board provided direction to staff to increase density within the county. And so you'll see, if you were to look at the zoning map from a bigger perspective, you would see that a majority of the land that would have been in 10-acre zoning would have been changed to a 5-acre zoning. If you remember, we called it the one-click change, where we increased the density by 1 click. So the majority of you'll see that there was 58,580, and that was reduced down to 10,367 because a lot of that 10-acre went to 5-acre. A lot of the 5-acre went to 2.5. And then in certain parts of the county, particularly up in the first assessment district north of town, that went from a lot of 2.5-acre to 1-acre density. So there was a increased push by the county board at that time to increase, I think, densities to allow more housing opportunities so that people wouldn't have to have such large lots to be able to develop on. You look at this lot here, and as a reminder, the area that's in blue is a rural residential 5. The area that's in green is the agricultural forested. So I know we were focused a lot on the agricultural during the staff presentation, but it also is the area that we have a lot of our forested areas in there. And so this was an area that the county board, when they went through the process of amending the map, decided that they thought that this was a general zone within the county where they wanted to see, larger tracts of land to, for that purpose. Doesn't mean that it can't be changed to a smaller tract, but when the county went through that 2024 update, so a lot of that R10 went to R5, like I said, but then the agricultural forest had still maintained that 35-acre density. So that was why you see that reduction in that 10 acre down from the number of parcels down because of just the changing a lot of this 10 acre zoning in the county down to 5. So this, prior to the zoning in this map here, would have the blue areas would have been 10 acre compared to 5 acre as they are today.
Thank you. Other thoughts, questions, discussion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to recommend to the county board to approve the land use amendment from agriculture forestry to rural residential 10.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a second. Okay, further discussion.
Madam Chair, we'll pull the findings up
Yes.
for,
Page, what are those? 28.
look at the findings that would support amending this from agricultural forested to rural residential 10.
And page 28.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
relative to the findings, I would like to include in the first finding of fact the verbiage from the no findings about the comprehensive plan shifting RR10 that I just asked the question about, adding to the end of that and a move to higher density RR5. I think it's a finding that would match, support the request in front of us.
Makes sense.
So we'll take that last bullet point and with that amendment, and we'll put that in the findings under number 1 for yes. Very good.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 And before I do, we take the final vote on this, and we kind of got ahead of ourselves. You do understand that tonight we're making a recommendation to the county board.
Pardon again?
We're making a recommendation to the county board to approve your land use map amendment request. The county board does have the final approval.
Okay, thank you.
And that meeting will be on
September 15th.
September 15th, 9 a.m. in this room.
Will it be September instead of later?
September 15th.
You had an extension to November, but we don't need the extension now. Okay.
Yeah, we can talk about the extension to answer those questions for you, but
This would be good. Then I can get going on things.
Okay, I'll go back then and just repeat. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You've been very professional.
that's why we had extended. Yeah.
Okay, our next order of business will be Kendra and Jeffrey Jansen for a variance request. And for a preliminary plat. Good afternoon.
Hello. Commission members, my name is Matt Pavick. I'm representing the landowners. I'm purchasing the property from them.
Thank you. And your address?
My address is 19160 Azure Road, Deep Haven, Minnesota.
Thank you. Nicolette, can you read the request into the record, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have property owner and applicants Kendra and Jeffrey Jansen, which I do believe are online, authorized agent Matthew Pavick, parcel numbers 872-00540 and 872-00550. Physical address is 26135 Eagle Drive in Aiken, and this is in Rabbit Lake Township. The current land use is Shoreland District and Rural Residential 2.5. Madam Chair, there are 2 requests before the board this evening, and staff recommends conducting the public hearing for both items concurrently and followed by separate motions for each. The first is a variance request to allow a Type 3 septic system site suitability on lots 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 12, where a Type 1 septic site suitability is otherwise required for a preliminary plat. Second, we have a preliminary plat request for Rabbit Lake Ridge consisting of 14 residential lots, 9 riparian lots, 5 non-riparian lots, and 2 outlots. This property is located on the north side of Rabbit Lake, a general development lake with a structure setback of 75 feet. Minimum requirements for new parcels on general development lakes. There is a minimum lot size of 30,000 square feet, minimum buildable area of 12,000 square feet, with a minimum lot width of 100 feet. The requirements for non-riparian parcels are minimum lot size of 40,000 square feet, minimum buildable area of 20,000 square feet, with a minimum lot width of 150 feet. Within a rural residential 2.5 zoning, the minimum parcel size is 2.5 acres with a minimum lot width of 165 feet. As we can see, I'm going to zoom in here to this parcel. It's both of these parcels here. We have the Shoreland District that separates this portion off, and then we have the rural residential 2.5 that's in the north. We will go to one of the surveys on page 39. All right, so County Road 30 runs east and west through the area, and a new private road is proposed to service lots 4 through 12, lot 14, and Outlot A. Outlot A will be a common lot for all of the parcels within this plat, as it already has trails and it will remain an open area. Lot 1 over here will have access through Eagle Drive. Lots 2 through 4 and 13 have a shared access point now, but each have the individual ability to access Eagle Drive. Lots 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and 12 were found to have less than 12 inches of suitable soil needed to accommodate a Type 1 septic system. A minimum of 12 inches of dry, undisturbed soil is required for the installation of a Type 1 septic system. These sites were noted to have a minimum of 10 inches of good soil, which did not quite meet that 12-inch threshold. I'm going to show you a diagram that might help better understand.
Oh, we didn't turn on the, there we go.
There we go. All right. Septic systems must have 3 feet of good soil, or 3 feet of separation from any evidence of the water table. With a Type 3 system, the drain fields usually have more than 3 feet of separation because a minimum of 3 feet is brought in. So if you look at the diagram, we have 12 inches or more of dry soil. So if you have 12 inches, you need 36. Only 2 feet is added to that septic system. If you have over here, let's say less than 12 inches, we have our 10, which we have for this site. There will be 3 feet, 10 inches of soil, of good soil separation for these sites, which would actually be more than a Type 1. The only difference is you're bringing in sand for these. Back to. Except for the variance request, the proposed plat meets all of the requirements of the land use ordinance. No comments were received from Rabbit Lake Township, and 1 comment was received from the Highway Department on August 12th. stating that Lot 14 shall not be granted direct access to County Road 30 and must access via the proposed private road. The Highway Department supports the plat as proposed and does not require turn lanes at this time. One comment was received from Maggie Young, the GIS specialist in Land Services Department, on July 13th. And she stated for E911 purposes under Article 19 of the Land Use Ordinance, they will need to name the private road and run through, that is Outlot B, which is the road, and they will need to name the road and be responsible for street name and sign fees. If the board does approve the application, staff recommends no conditions for the variance and the following 6 conditions for the preliminary plat. 1, the final plat must be submitted within 12 months of the county board approval. 2, all required improvements under Article 9.8 must be completed. Lot 14 shall not receive direct access to County Road 30 and must utilize the private road. 3, the applicant must submit a name for the private road and pay all applicable road and signage fees. 4, if soil disturbance is 1 acre or more is proposed, the stormwater, a SWIP from the MPCA must be submitted. 5, verification of completed plat monuments must be provided, and 6, title commitment must be submitted. I can answer any other questions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Nicolette? Is there anything that you'd like to add?
No, thank you. I concur with all of the staff's recommendations and conditions, and I'm here for any questions if you have any.
Okay. At this time, then, we will open up this request for public testimony. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address this application? Anyone? Please come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Rad Royer. My address is 23565 Buttercup Lane, Aiken, and I'm just west of the property, and I guess with all the rains and the clay that's all there, I would like to see you stay with your standards. I mean, it doesn't seem to be too much to protect the water, so.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the courtroom who would like to address this application? Anyone else? Anyone? Seeing no one, I'll go to online. I don't believe there is anyone online who wishes to address. I don't see any hand icon. So we will bring it back to the applicant if you have anything that you would like to respond to.
I don't think so. Thank you.
Okay. At this point, then, we will bring it to the board for additional discussion and action on these requests for the variance and the preliminary plat.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
could we bring up the findings of fact for the variance, please?
Those are on page 137. Yes, if you could do that, that would be great.
And could we go to question 3? So this is perhaps an education question for me. So we've talked about type 2s, we talked about type 3s. As a matter of fact, we now say in this that a type 3 system is just as effective as a type 1, and that the capacity to treat the wastewater is the same for both. And so why do we force a variance request for a type 2 and a type 3? If they
absolutely.
accomplish the same thing and we get to the same result?
Madam Chair, John, that is a great question because the legislature says we have to. And so A couple things. One is that when the legislature updated Minnesota Rules, Chapter 7080, which governs septics in the state, they put in there that says that any new lot created after 1996 had to have would require to have a Type 1 septic system. If they can't have that, then a variance would be required for the Type 3. So that's the reason why there's that question about that. The other one that you had is why we need variances for Type 2s and 3s is because you go to 394, Minnesota Statute 394.36, which is the enabling legislation that allows the counties to do zoning that we do, says that if you've got lots that are non-conforming, meaning that they were platted prior to being regulations, so they don't meet the lot width, the lot area, they can develop the property, get permits, provided they can meet setbacks, provided they can have impervious coverage limits and a Type 1 septic system. And so that's the reason why. So you have different rules and statutes that are having these conversations about the requirements, and that's why there's variance opportunities to come in when it doesn't quite fit into those rules and to that statute. That's why. And again, just for clarification purposes on that septic system, and was, as Nicolette put that design up there, you're looking for 12 inches of soil that doesn't have any what's called redoxamorphic features, which is evidence of the water table in it. And you find 12 inches of that provides a Type 1 system. You put 2 feet of sand on top of that, you put your rock bed on top of that, and you cap it off with your black dirt, and you've got a mound system, similar to what you saw up there. In this situation, instead of finding the 12 inches, they found 10 inches. So they're off by about that much. And when you're off by 1 inch on trying to find a Type 1, then the compensation the state says is, well, then you need to put 3 feet of sand up there to compensate for that. And that's why it's effectively treating a Type 3, because you have to have that 3 feet of sand. So instead of a 2-foot mound, you're going to have another foot added on to top of that. So that's why that's the difference from the environmental standpoint. But the reason why we have to do some of these things is because the legislature put these things in effect, and that's why they also put into 394 the idea of applying for a variance when things don't quite fit the mold as what's been required.
So Madam Chair, so we have a mandate from the legislature that forces people to go through a process to get to something that we're going to approve, as a matter of fact, because it's the same, accomplishes the same thing, but we force them to go through a variance process to accomplish that. They could produce a report saying there's what we need to do, and you looked at it and said by permit, this would work, a Type 2 would work, or a Type 3.
Right.
But the legislature says you got to start with Type 1, right?
And I think what the legislature's plan with that was, because prior to that being in the rule, if you came back in and said, I've got a lot that's too small, the county first had to go through a variance and say, yep, you can get a variance to build on a lot because this doesn't meet today's standards. And the legislature said, I don't think that's appropriate. So we want to make sure that if they can meet the setbacks, impervious coverage limits are met, and then that Type 1 septic system. I think if you could go back and talk to the legislature, I think they'd say if a conforming septic could be installed regardless of the type, because the legislature doesn't really understand the typing of it, but that was just what was recommended at the time, I think is why you see that.
Madam Chair, I'm not going to beat it to death, but we always have these types of findings of fact that say they're the same, as a matter of fact. So it just seems like a non-value added thing to me, but I accept that the legislature put it upon us.
It would be great if they would amend that to give us a little more flexibility locally to make these decisions.
It isn't going to
Yes.
happen, probably.
No.
Okay. Thank you for the explanation.
Madam Chair, I have one question.
Yes.
So will they have to have 3 foot of separation on the structure then to the lowest floor?
So Madam Chair, the question is what would the lowest floor elevation have to be in related to this? So there's a different piece of that. So you're talking about the floodplain rules, and you're dealing with the base flood elevation and then the regulatory flood protection elevation that goes with that. This is any structure they build on, there's going to have to meet any elevation requirements. This isn't going to be a problem on this lake because there's definitely some relief and some slope there. So there won't be any structures built would have to meet the regulatory flood.
But you're talking modeled soil, correct?
Correct.
Which is the highest level that the water's
At
ever
some
been
point.
to.
At some point. Yep.
I just know the city of Baxter requires 3 foot of separation.
Yep, and so the way
Modeled soil.
the way the shoreline rules read is that you have to be 3 feet above the highest known water level or the OHW or the known regulatory flood protection elevation. So we actually had that discussion with the DNR, and they said that we can't be more restrictive than what the base flood elevation and the regulatory flood protection elevation has been set. That's the advice that we've received from the DNR, so.
Okay. I just know theirs is whichever is most restrictive.
We did that, and we called down and talked to the floodplain staff down in St. Paul, and they said, you don't get to pick the more restrictive. If there is an established base flood elevation and an established regulatory flood protection, that's the number you have to go with. Even if you think you can try to add the 3 feet on that you mentioned from the Shoreline rules, you have to go with the base flood elevation and the regulatory flood protection elevation. Yep.
Okay.
Any other discussion regarding the variance?
Madam Chair, if there is no further discussion, I would be prepared to offer a motion.
Sounds good.
So I would move approval of the variance request for a type 3 septic system where a type 1 system is required per the site plan that's been submitted, the findings of fact that we just reviewed, and the on-site report contained in the packet. With
I'll
no
second that.
conditions, correct? No conditions.
Correct.
I'll second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, before we take final action on your variance request, I need to verify 4 items with you. Do you understand what is being approved tonight?
Yes.
You understand there are no conditions that are required as part of this approval?
Yes.
And you understand that you must obtain permits now from Land Services Department before construction begins?
Yes.
And you understand that what is being approved tonight regarding this variance is final? Any future changes to what is being approved tonight, such as structure size, height, or location, must be approved by this board? This means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request. Staff cannot modify or change what's been approved by this board.
Yes.
Okay, with that, then we'll proceed with the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries for the variance. Next, we would have discussion on the preliminary plat request.
Preliminary plat, findings of fact are on page 245.
245.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
There be no further discussion on the preliminary plat, I would move a recommendation to the County Board of approval of the preliminary plat of Rabbit Lake Ridge with 14 residential lots, subject to the 6 conditions stated in the staff report, the survey that has been submitted, and the findings of fact that we have just reviewed.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, before we take action on this preliminary plat request, I need to verify 2 items with you. Do you understand that tonight we are making a recommendation to the county board to approve your preliminary plat request?
Yes.
They do have the final approval over this request, and they will be meeting on the 15th in this room at 9:00 a.m. And do you understand that the required conditions placed on the preliminary plat must be completed before applying for the final plat request?
Yes.
Okay, we then will proceed with the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Our next application will be the Smoothies for a variance. Good afternoon. If you'd state your name and addresses for the record, please.
Charles Smoody, 23098 County Road 2, Brainerd.
And would you like to
Oh,
state?
me too. Cecily Smoody, 23098 County Road 2, Brainerd.
Thank you. And would you like to read the request into the record, please, Nicolette?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have tonight property owner and applicants. We have the Smoothies. Parcel number 881000504. Physical address is 4741 White Pine Road in Garrison, and this is in Roosevelt Township. The request tonight is to construct an 864 square foot deck. In order to do so, the applicant is seeking a variance for a lake setback of 50 feet where 75 feet is required. This property is located on the west side of Camp Lake, which is a general development lake, and does require a 75-foot setback. Access to the property is from White Pine Road, which is north of County Road 2. The parcel lies within the Shoreland District and is surrounded by shoreland and residential uses. On this page, I'm going to zoom in a little bit before I go to the survey. There is a wetland complex to the north of the property here that has been determined by the DNR to be hydrologically connected to Camp Lake. And therefore, as well, let's look on the survey. So due to that complex being connected, we have the OHW that wraps around the north side of their property. In September of 2023, the applicants were granted a variance to construct a 2,363 square foot home with attached garage with an OHW setback of 68 feet where 75 feet is required. They were also approved a 699 square foot patio with an OHW setback of 62 feet where 75 is required. And then another variance for a 699 square foot patio in SIZ 2 where a 400 square foot patio is allowed. The applicants planned to construct the 864 square foot deck at that time. However, the request for the deck never made it into the variance request in 2023. Their proposed deck meets the 75-foot setback from Camp Lake on this side. As you can see, the building envelope. However, due to the adjacent wetland being hydrologically connected, we have a smaller building envelope that pushes more south, and we have the need for the variances over here. Notes from the PCBOA on-site visit from August 6th. The proposal includes an upper-level deck constructed above an existing patio. The project does not increase impervious surface coverage. A strong stormwater management plan has been proposed, and the project area is well screened by existing woodland vegetation. No comments were received from the township, other reviewing agencies, or the public. And if this application is approved tonight, staff would like to recommend the 4 following conditions. 1, a land use permit be obtained from Land Services prior to start of construction. 2, an erosion and sediment control plan utilizing EMPs be implemented. 3, a stormwater management plan, and 4, upon completion of construction, an as-built survey showing the compliance with all variance conditions and required elevations must be submitted to the county. I can answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions for Nicolette? Is there anything that you'd like to add?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, thank you. We then will open up this request for public testimony. Today, is there anyone in the courtroom who would like to address this application? Anyone? Seeing no one, is there anyone online? I don't believe so. So we will bring it back to the board for discussion and action on this request.
Findings of fact are on page 261 of your packet, Madam Chair.
261 are the findings of fact.
If there's no further discussion?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
If I may, on question 6 of the findings, second bullet, I'd like to propose that we have that bullet read, the need arises from existing site constraints on the parcel, period, and then delete that in prior approved structure location. The prior approved structure location was the applicant's choice. That's not a reason for the variance, but the constraints on the site are, so I think that would be a better finding.
Yep, we can make that change.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment by the board?
If not, I'd like to make a motion. Madam Chair, I'd like to make the motion to approve the variance for lake setback of 50 feet where 75 feet is required to construct an 864 square foot deck based on the findings of fact in the staff report, the 4 conditions in the staff report, and the on-site that was conducted and the survey attached to the staff report.
Second?
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, before we do take action on this variance request, I need to verify 4 items with you. Do you understand what is being approved tonight?
Yes.
Do you understand the conditions that are required as part of the approval?
Yes.
Do you understand that you must obtain permits now from Land Services Department before construction begins? And do you understand what is being approved tonight is final? Any future changes to what is being approved tonight, such as structure size, height, or location, must be approved by this board. This means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request. Staff cannot modify or change what has been approved by this board. Okay, with that, then we'll proceed with the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Our next application this afternoon, it would be Daniel Welsh for a variance. Daniel Welsh,
He's online.
online? Can you hear us, Daniel?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. If you'd state your name and address for the record, please.
Daniel Welch, 3723 Heath Drive in Pine River.
Thank you. And Nicolette, can you read the request into the record, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, tonight we have applicant and property owner Daniel Welch, parcel number 68070567, physical address 37237 Heath Drive in Pine River, and this is in Ideal Township. The request is to construct a 1,910 square foot addition to an existing detached garage. To do so, the applicant is seeking a variance for a lake setback of 65 feet where 75 feet is required. We'll go to page 267 in your packets. The subject property is located on Lower Whitefish Lake, classified as a general development lake with a minimum setback of 75 feet. The parcel is situated within the Shoreland District and is surrounded by shoreland and residential uses. We'll go to page, this is good. So Lower Whitefish wraps around this peninsula here and into this basin, which kind of like the other one is hydrologically connected to the lake. So we have wetlands that the DNR classifies as still lake bed. And so due to that, the setback, of course, wraps around the whole parcel. We'll go to the survey on page 270. So here you have the 75-foot setback due to the Lower Whitefish wrapping around the property, and the existing barn over here with the addition onto that is proposed. The property encompasses approximately 6.2 acres, and it has been developed in a spacious, low-density manner, maintaining a minimal impervious surface coverage. This existing barn was constructed in 1985 with a land use permit, which was prior to the adoption of current ordinance standards and updated lake setback requirements. Comments from the on-sites, the PCBOA on-sites from August 6th. The proposed addition is orientated away from the lake. The large lot size ensures impervious coverage is not a concern. A comment was received from Ideal Township recommending approval of the request. No additional comments were submitted by reviewing agencies or members of the public. If the board does approve this application tonight, staff recommends the 4 following conditions. 1, a land use permit be obtained prior to construction. 2, an erosion and sediment control plan utilizing best management practices be approved and submitted with the permit. 3, a stormwater management plan be submitted at the time of permitting. And 4, upon completion of construction, an as-built survey demonstrating compliance with all variance conditions and required elevations be submitted to the county. I can answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions? Excuse me. Mr. Welch, is there anything that you'd like to add?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Then we will bring this open for public testimony. Is there any in the courtroom who would like to address this application? Seeing no one, it doesn't look like there's anyone online then. We will bring it back to the board for additional discussion and action.
Finding of facts, Madam Chair, on page 279 of the packet.
279.
Correct.
There's no further discussion, Madam Chair. I'm prepared to make a motion.
Please go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the variance for lake setback to 65 feet where 75 feet is required to construct a 1,910 square foot addition to an existing detached garage based on the findings and facts in the staff report, the 4 conditions in the staff report, the on-site conducted, and the certificate of survey.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, before we take final action on this, Mr. Welch, I need to make sure that I need to verify 4 items with you, please. Do you understand what is being approved tonight?
Yes, I do.
Do you understand the conditions that are required as part of the approval?
Yes, I do.
Do you understand that you must obtain permits now from Land Services Department before construction begins?
Yes.
And do you understand what is being approved tonight is final? Any future changes to what is being approved tonight, such as structure size, height, or location, must be approved by this board? This means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request. Staff cannot modify or change what has been approved by this board.
I do.
Okay, we then will proceed with the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon. Our next
You do the same.
Thank you. Our next application would be Mark and Dawn Bisak for a variance.
Nick Buckentine, 36626 Pine Bay Drive, Cross Lake, Minnesota. I'm the builder representing the Misogis.
Wait a second.
Thank you.
Say it again?
You're good, but thank you. And would you like to read the request into the record, Nicolette?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have property owner and applicant Mark and Don Bisaki and authorized agent Nick Buckentine, parcel numbers 752-60587, 752-60588, and 752-60589. Physical address is 14716 County Road 22 in Brainerd, and this is in Long Lake Township. The request tonight is to construct a 384 square foot addition, construct a second-story addition of a loft, install a new Type 3 septic servicing the dwelling, and install a new Type 2 holding tank septic servicing the guest cottage. To do so, the applicants are seeking a variance for a lake setback of 64 feet where 75 feet is required to the proposed addition, a river setback of 82 feet where 100 feet is required to the proposed addition, river setback of 47 feet where 100 feet is required to the proposed septic drain field, road right-of-way setback of 2 feet where 10 feet is required to the proposed septic drain field, Type 3 septic system where a Type 1 is required, and a Type 2 holding tank where a Type 1 is required for the proposed guest cottage. I'm going to go to 286. The property is located on Lower South Long Lake, which is classified as a general development lake with a minimum setback of 75 feet. The property lies just off of County Road 22, which is approximately 1.5 miles east of State Highway 25. It is situated within the Shoreland District and surrounded by similar residential and shoreline uses. I wanted to show you this before we go to the survey. So just to the north of the property, there is an unnamed creek that runs along the northeastern portion of the property. This creek is classified as a general development river, which requires a minimum setback of 100 feet. Going to the certificate of survey. This property was platted in 1936. And part of that plat includes a 66-foot wide road right-of-way to access the lake. Within the right-of-way is the general development river that on the survey is labeled Creek Boat Way. In the county's public water inventory, it is recorded as an unnamed creek to Long Lake. Either way, it has a 100-foot setback to the edge. The proposal includes scraping and rebuilding the existing structure in its current location, using the existing foundation. A second story addition, let me zoom in here. We'll go by piece. A second story addition is also proposed with a 16 by 24 addition here to the north, we'll say, resulting in a total of 3 bedrooms in the cabin. At the August 6th on-site meeting, questions arose regarding a deck. The existing deck proposed is to remain unchanged with no improvements planned or proposed at this time. A new 3-bedroom septic mound system is proposed to service the dwelling, which is up here in the corner. The septic designer determined that the optimal location for the mound is in the same location as the existing mound. Because the mound would be installed over previously disturbed soils, the system qualifies as a Type 3 system rather than a Type 1, which must be placed in undisturbed soils with at least 12 inches of dry soil. The proposed mound setback distances are 47 feet from the river and 2 feet in this corner, which is the closest to the road right-of-way. The proposed septic tanks will be located within the available building envelope over here. The applicants also propose to reconstruct the existing guest house. This is the existing guest house. The reconstructed structure will meet ordinance standards for setback, size, and height. However, a Type 2 holding tank is proposed to service the guest house. Time dose septic systems, which are classified as Type 3 systems, are sometimes used on constrained lots. Time dosing allows a system to treat more effluent than its standard designed capacity. For example, if you have a 3-bedroom drain field with time dosing, the time dose system may accommodate wastewater equivalent to a 4-bedroom home. The septic designer for this property, Martin Joyce, noted that only a 3-bedroom mound can be accommodated on this lot and stated that he does not feel comfortable designing a time dose system for this property. Therefore, a holding tank was designed to accommodate the wastewater from the guest house. If the board does approve this application tonight, staff recommend the 5 following conditions. Number 1, a land use permit be approved prior to construction. 2, implementation of an erosion and sediment control plan. 3, a stormwater management plan. 4, lowest floor of the new dwelling or additions to the existing dwelling must be constructed to meet the regulatory floodplain protection elevation of 1197.6 and meet all floodplain requirements in Article 21. And 5, an as-built certificate of survey showing all variance requirements, including elevations, being met, submitted to the county once construction is complete. I can answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Nicolette? Is there anything that you would like to add?
No?
Okay, we then will open up this request for public testimony, and I know there's one person in the courtroom. Is there anything that you'd like to address with this application? Seeing him indicating no, I don't believe there's anyone online, so we would bring it back to the board for further discussion and action.
Madam Chair, on the on-site, we talked about the, can you put the survey back up? We talked about that existing carport needs to be removed. This shed needs to be, these two need to be moved to conforming locations. That's something we talked about. So I'm wondering if we should place a condition on this, that that carport and that little shed have to be moved to a conforming location.
Or removed.
Or be removed, one or the other.
Removed or conforming.
I wonder,
Yeah, Madam Chair, I just want to make sure we're clear that if there's to be removed, that the applicant has to be in agreement to remove it.
okay.
So we can't order the removal of that.
I think,
Unless unless you are willing to move it, then it's a different story if he agrees to it, so.
instead of saying to be removed, I would like to see a condition saying that the existing carport and the existing shed be moved to conforming locations. If they can't, then that's up to the applicant to remove it.
I would agree.
But I think that's a condition we need to place on this.
We can do that.
Okay with that?
Any concerns with that, Nick?
As far
Yes.
as,
I'm gonna tell them that they should just remove it from the property.
Okay, so it sounds like there's no problem with the applicant.
yeah,
Okay.
but I
The
think
shed and the carport.
to be safe, let's just
Yeah.
put that condition
We will.
out there.
We'll do that.
As far as a proposed holding tank, I think I had asked Chris this question, but staff clarified it. There's no way they can connect that guest cottage into the existing tanks to the drain field because of capacity reasons.
Because it's a type 3 and Martin just didn't feel
Right.
comfortable that we could add that additional flow to the
So
septic.
I'm okay, it's a guest cottage, it's not like it's gonna be used year-round. And we just approved a holding tank for a year-round home about a month ago. So I'm okay with the proposed holding tank.
Any further discussion?
Yep. Madam Chair, findings of fact, please.
Page 320.
Given our earlier conversation about type 3, I would propose under number 3 that we would add a fourth bullet that would basically say what we've said previously, which is type 3 septic systems treat wastewater as effectively as a type 1 system, and the capacity to effectively treat wastewater is the same for both types.
Good, we can make that change?
Further discussion? Hearing none, we can entertain a motion.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I would move approval of the request for variances of a lake setback of 64 feet where 75 feet is required, a river setback of 82 feet where 100 feet is required, a river setback of 47 feet where 100 feet is required for the drain field, a road right-of-way setback of 2 feet where 10 is required to propose drain field, a Type 3 septic system where a Type 1 is required, and a Type 2 holding tank where a Type 1 is required. To construct a 384 square foot addition, a second-story loft, a new Type 3 septic service dwelling, and a new Type 2 holding tank servicing the guest cottage. Per the findings of fact as amended, the site plan, and the now 6 conditions with the amended addition about moving the carport and shed.
Second. There's a motion on the floor with a second. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, before we take action, I need to verify 4 items with you. Do you understand what is being approved tonight?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand the conditions that are required as part of the approval?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you must obtain permits now from Land Services Department before construction begins?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand what is being approved tonight is final?
Yes, ma'am.
Any future changes to what is being approved tonight, such as structure size, height, or location, must be approved by this board. This means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request. Staff cannot modify or change what has been approved by this board.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, with that being said, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you for your time. Our last application for this evening would be Patricia and Jeffrey Lenz for a variance. Thanks for your patience. Someone has to be last.
No worries. My name is Sean Lines. Address is 4553 Brunswick Avenue, Crystal, Minnesota.
Thank you. Nicolette, can you read the request into the record, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have property owner and applicant Patricia and Jeffrey Lintz. Parcel number is 50110784, 50110785, 50110786, 50110745, and 50110746. Physical address is 16305 Brighton Point Road in Deerwood, and this is located in Bay Lake Township. The request is to construct a 1,127 square foot addition to the existing dwelling, a 281 square foot screen porch addition to the existing dwelling, 73 square foot deck addition, north end of the deck, a 50 square foot deck addition on the south end of the deck, a 419 square foot patio, and a Type 3 septic system. To do so, the applicant is requesting a variance for a lake setback of 79 feet where 100 feet is required to the addition, a lake setback of 84 feet where 100 feet is required to the screen porch, a lake setback of 73 feet where 100 feet is required to the north end of the deck, a lake setback of 69 feet where 100 feet is required to the south end of the deck, a lake setback of 58 feet where 100 feet is required to the septic tanks, a 419 square foot patio in shore impact zone 2 where 400 square feet is allowed, property line setback of 5 feet where 10 feet is required for septic tanks and a mound drain field, and a Type 3 septic system where a Type 1 is allowed. All right, so we're gonna, let's go down here. This property is located on Bay Lake, which is classified as a recreational development lake with a 100-foot setback. The property lies just off Brighton Point Road, which is just a mile west of County Road 10, right here. It is situated within Shoreland District and is surrounded by shoreland and residential uses. Going to, let's see, 332, I believe, is the certificate of survey. So we'll start here. The proposal involves removing the existing structure and constructing a new dwelling with a 1,127 square foot addition, which would be this section here. This is proposed to be 79 feet from the OHW of Bay Lake. The existing dwelling is situated 80 feet from the OHW. Due to the natural curvature of the shoreline, the new addition would be approximately 1 foot closer than the current structure. However, it would still be in line with the existing structure. A screened porch measuring 16 by 18 is proposed with a setback of 84 feet back from the lake. 2 deck additions that are proposed. One being 50 square feet in size, which is proposed to be 69 feet back from the OHW, and the other being 73 square feet in size and proposed at 73 feet from the OHW. Again, these additions would be in line with the existing, just the curvature of the lake makes those setbacks fluctuate. A new septic system is proposed to service the dwelling. The septic tanks, let me scroll down here. The septic tanks are proposed to be at 58 feet from OHW, and 5 feet from the property line. The new septic system mound will be installed in the same location as the existing mound, resulting in the system being classified as a type 3 septic. I'm going to go to page 349 because it has an easier diagram of the request. Not so busy. A comment was received from the township which recommended approval of the request. No other comments were received from the public or other reviewing agencies. If the board does approve this request, staff recommends the 7 following conditions. 1, a land use permit shall be approved prior to construction. 2, implement an erosion and sediment control plan utilizing best management practices prior to construction. 3, a stormwater management plan according to Article 41 be submitted with a land use permit. 4, a 10-foot no-maintenance shoreline buffer must be established on 70% of the shoreline. A no-maintenance buffer must be established within 1 year of variance approval. 5, implement a shoreline restoration plan to control erosion along the shoreline. The plan must be approved by the county and must be implemented by the same time of permit expiration, 2 years, or upon substantial completion of the project, whichever is sooner. 6, property lines must be staked by a surveyor prior to septic installation. Property stakes must be present during the inspection of the septic system. 7, an as-built certificate of survey showing all variance requirements, including elevations, must be submitted to the county once construction is complete. I can answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? Is there anything that you'd like to add, sir?
No comments.
Okay. Hearing none, then we would open it up for public testimony, and I'd like to note that there is no one in the courtroom, and I do not believe there is anyone online, so that would bring it back to the board for further discussion and action on this request.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
If I may, procedurally, I'm not going to support the 419 square foot patio where 400 is allowed because I haven't heard of a practical difficulty to support that variance. So procedurally, how would we like to handle that? I don't know if anyone else agrees with that, but.
Madam Chair, and John, I think the procedure would be to make a motion to deny the variance part that you would like to do and go through that process, and then approve the variance parts that you are wanting to approve.
Okay. So I'd be prepared to do that at the appropriate time, Madam Chair.
And I think we could probably combine the findings together if you wanted to put something in the current findings that would support, you know, why you would want, we could include that in, or we could have a separate set of findings if you'd like that, or we could include it. I think we could probably have the findings combined that would support the variance approval for the other pieces that sounds like it has the support, and then the one piece for the 419 square foot that doesn't.
The current findings are on page 366.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if I may, to the findings, I would like to add under number 3, the same finding I proposed on the last application regarding type 3 septic systems. as effective of type 1, et cetera, same language.
Everyone agreed with that? Okay.
And the more I think about it, John, I think you could probably do a combined motion where you approve what you want to approve and deny what you want to deny. And I think we just talk through the findings a little bit to make sure what are the, under what section of the findings would you want to clarify the reason why you would be saying no to the patio size. I would think under number 1, we would,
I would just say that for me, it's number 4.
Number 4.
Is the need for a variance due to circumstances unique to the property and not created by the property owner. No, it's solely the request of the property owner. I didn't see anything demonstrated that there's uniqueness to the property requiring a 419 square foot patio.
You're saying there's nothing, no lot limitations that would.
Correct.
Okay.
And where is this patio?
It's on the north side of the building structure.
We'll go back to the survey quick.
Underneath, so it's underneath the deck.
It's actually to the north, where your yellow box, pro screen porch. Are you guys considering underneath the
We're talking,
deck you're considering underneath the deck as a patio?
yes.
Gotcha, okay.
Yep. So right now, there's 288 square feet of rock underneath there. And your proposal is to make a 419 square foot patio in that area, right? Yeah.
Yes, yep, sorry, I was misunderstanding which one we were classifying as the patio. Yep.
Any other findings?
Chris, I think on finding 1, we should put in there that the variance request for a 419 square foot patio is not in harmony with the purpose intent of the ordinances. The ordinance only allows a 400 square foot patio in shore impact zone 2.
So, Madam Chair?
Yes.
So do we think those two things clarify?
They do, I think so.
And is there further discussion, or are we prepared for a motion?
Unless there is any further discussion from anyone, then we are prepared for a motion.
So, Madam Chair, I would propose that we, a motion to approve the variance for a lake setback of 79 feet where 100 feet is required for the addition, a lake setback of 84 feet where 100 feet is required for the screen porch, a lake setback of 73 feet where 100 feet is required for the north end of the deck, a lake setback of 69 feet where 100 feet is required for the south end of the deck, a lake setback of 58 feet where 100 feet is required for the septic tanks, a property line setback of 5 feet where 10 feet is required for septic tanks and mound drain field, a type 3 septic system where type 1 is allowed. I'll come back to the denial in a minute. To construct a 1,127 square foot addition to the existing dwelling, a 281 square foot screen porch addition to the existing dwelling, a 73 square foot deck addition for the north end of the deck, a 50 square foot deck addition for the south end of the deck, a property line setback for the proposed septic tank and mound drain field, and a type 3 septic system, subject to the 7 conditions, and a denial of the 419 square foot patio in SIS 2, where 400 square feet is allowed. Per the survey that has been submitted, the conditions for those that are being approved, and the findings of fact as amended. I think I covered them all.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a second. Any further discussion?
I guess it's a 19 square foot variance request, correct?
Correct.
So they're allowed a 400 square foot.
They'd be allowed 400, yeah, so if the variance gets denied, they're losing 19 square.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Rob. Any further discussion? Before we take action, then I need to verify 4 items with you. Do you understand what is being approved tonight?
Do.
And do you understand the conditions that are part of this approval?
Yep.
And do you understand that you must obtain permits now from the Land Services Department before construction begins?
Yep.
And do you understand that what is being approved tonight is final? Any future changes to what is being approved tonight, such as structure size, height, or location, must be approved by this board. This means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request. Staff cannot modify or change what has been approved by this board.
Understand.
Madam Chair, can I just clarify one thing? I know that you'd asked him if he understood what was being approved, but you also understand what's being denied as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Right, from the 419.
Yep.
But you are okay with 400?
Yep. So
Okay.
at this point, as long as we keep to the 400, we don't have to do anything further.
Correct?
Yep.
Correct. Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Yep.
Okay, then we'll proceed with the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you for your
Appreciate
time.
your time.
Matters not on the agenda.
We are going to be done by 4:30. Isn't that cool? That is great news. So we just want to give you guys a quick update. We have a total of 10 items for the September meeting. We have 7 variances, 1 conditional use, and 2 land use map amendments. The 1 conditional use permit is up at, is the campground up on Mission